Hello and welcome back. In this video, I want to put a panel there. I've been doing some quick calculations and that sticks out too much. A panel is going to go over that and it's going to hit these two. So what I need to do is cut a nice big square around that and recess them in further. I've turned off the pump, now to drain the water out. Why is this happening? You might very well call this a lot of extra work, but YouTube calls it content creation. It looks like you're coming off again. This is now the third time I've installed this. There's a rubber seal on those gold rings, so I don't need to worry about sealant here. Now, what could possibly go wrong? That's the pump on, and no leak. Woohoo! I got a haircut. This is going to be possibly the most Heath Robinson video we've done, because there's two problems I've created that I have to overcome. Come with me. Too close. We've already seen these two have to be pushed in. The shower cubicle needed to be as wide as I could get it. There's the shower cubicle. There's the wall. And there's the door. And the wall is now going to get thicker and thicker because we have a layer of copper, plywood, and now we're going to have to cover this in something that looks a bit like that. Except we're using that one over there because it's already in bits and we're going to butcher it even more. But I'm going to take away this stairs, and to do that you have to lift it up and then pull it back, because you have to get over that little stump there. This will come out, clear the pipes. I don't know how far from this it's going to be, and then turn that over. But you will notice that it will come down on top of the stairs, meaning that when you lift it up, you won't be able to, because the panel is sitting on it. So, what I'm going to have to do is cut the panel away from it enough that I can lift it up over that and pull this away at a later date if I need to. And that's just one of the problems I have to overcome. Here's the second one. The shower. Are you ready? So far so good. Look at that. Beautiful. See those bubbles? Uh-oh, it's filling up. That's okay, because we have a pump. Manual. And it disappears. There's the sump, and there's the outlet. So far so good. So the problem is, if you're in the shower, la 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 la, and it starts filling up with water, it's a bit of a stretch to keep going over and pressing the button. So Smarty paid an enormous amount of money for this automatic switch and sump. Set it to auto. Oh, look at that. And watch. Damn! Too much water. There we go. Lovely. Nice. Lovely. Now just wait for it to automatically turn on. Come on. Automatically turn on. Oh, crap. Why is it not automatically turning on? Okay then. I have to press manual. Manual. So naturally the sensor must be broken. Right, get some water. Bring the water over here. I'm going to take away the stairs now. I cannot stress enough how heavy this is. But that means it's secure, it's strong, well built. Now, we undo the sensor because this is a sump and sometimes it gets blocked. More importantly, the sensor can get dirty. And voila! Oh, look, wait a minute, there's no water in it. What's going on? But I do have water here. That's the sensor. Auto. Does the sensor work? Yes, it does. The sensor works, the pump is working, the switch is working, gravity is still working. So why is it not working? Oh, I know. This is the pipe that goes back to the plug. There's the pipe that goes to the pump. Ignore that, that's a mess I need to clean up. This pipe goes back to the calorifier, which is the hot water tank, and the hot water tank has a release valve, and if the pressure gets too high in the hot water tank, the release valve releases and excess water is sent down that pipe, which will then go into the sump, which will then be deposited out of the boat. However, when the valve is closed, there is no air going through. No air coming in from outside through the pump, no air coming from the calorifier, and the only air coming in is the plug hole. That's why it was bubbling, because the air was bubbling out, and then it got airlocked. So the only way to resolve this is to put in a vent. Put a T in that pipe and vent up here. Would there ever be a situation where water would come shooting out the vent? No. So the vent could remain indoors. Yes? If there was another sink connected to the sump, it would act as a vent. I think so. I think so. I think so. It's so pleasing when you have all the bits and pieces lying around anyway to do this job. I'm using the insert here to strengthen the end of the pipe so the Jubilee clip doesn't crush it. I've tied it up with a little cable tie just temporarily, but the stairs will go there. This will be accessible, but won't be seen. To ensure that I have access to the vent will probably be mounted here. And if it ever gets blocked, I can service it under the stairs. And it's not hidden behind the panel. But does it work? Automatic. Here we go. And now we wait. No bubbles. The vent is working. It's filling up the tank. It's draining. Okay. It's doing a lot of filling up. And there it goes. Draining. Test complete. And there it is. Woohoo! Oh, fun thing. That's automatic. And you can see a green light. When you turn this one, you have a red light. But when the pump is pumping, the red light lights up. These are images of the panels in their original position back in 2020. They were pulled out, rescued, and put to one side for this very moment. 80 centimeters from here into that gap. But this panel is not 80 centimeters. It is 98. From there to the end is 9 centimeters. So if I take off 4 centimeters, that will be 5 centimeters. Same on the other side. Now we've gone from 98 down to 90. So now we've got to take another 10 centimeters out of it. And the easiest way to do that will be to take 5 out of each panel. And then we have 80 centimeters. Now the other side. This is 2 panels glued together. I need to separate them. I don't have a table saw, so I folded them over so they're mirror images of each other. This will cut 2.5 centimeters off, which will give me an overall of 5. I have to do that twice with 2 panels, bringing me to 10. And I've already taken 8 centimeters off the long pieces, bringing me down to my goal of 80 centimeters. The ruler is going to be my track. This is going to slide along. Hopefully it'll be nice and accurate. And then we glue them back together. Excellent. Little gap in the middle. From there to there just needs a light sanding. Well, that's a lot better. Only concern is that as I sand it, I I'll sand it badly and make a gap here. I mean, of course, I'm going to fill it. Right, this is the second one, and it's gone a lot better. Turns out that practice makes, well, I wouldn't go as far as to say perfect, but pretty damn good. It's really crucial that I get this cut absolutely spot on. So this is sitting on top. I'm going to mark it, and then I'll know what to remove. And I put a lot of effort into making sure that these all line up and are in the right position. And then after doing all of that, I decided to measure it to make sure we were still heading in the right direction with 80 centimeters. Let's have a look. Oh, we're at 78. So somehow I've lost 2 centimeters. Didn't take into account that these had to go in there. However, because I know I'm an idiot, I put in a margin of error. We're only out by 1 centimeter. But even if I tucked it in, all I need to do is have a nice little angle of wood there, and I can make this look like a post. Okay, I've marked it up. So, do you see this sticking out? That is represented by this line here, this and this, and this bit is represented by that line. Both sides. Good news. I can cut it on this because they come apart. So now I have to recreate that on this. I've marked it up. Now I use the multi-tool to get rid of the excess wood. I find using the multi-tool is a bit more art than precision, but once you get used to it, it's quite effective. So that's one roughly done, and when I fit it, I'll adjust and shave and sand a little bit. But essentially, yeah, now I've got 3 more to do. Right, onwards. You go over there. I have all these bits of the panels from when I was taking them apart, but you can see how they were fitted into the boat originally with bits taken out. However, I just found this bit. Now, it comes from another panel, but it's a roof section, and quite clearly the roof was slanted. And I thought to myself, oh, it wouldn't fit, would it? Guess what? It'll need a bit of fettling, but essentially it will fit in just nicely. Can you imagine though if it had been cut that way? Totally useless, couldn't have used it, but it just so happens to be the right orientation. That is a little mini miracle. Now I've got to make it fit that. Originally, when this was built, that was attached to that. We only have a small little bit to play with because I've made that, and we have our slot in there. So we're going to have to glue it, but that's not enough. So we're going to have to support it on the back with some plywood. But first, I'm going to sellotape it together. Now what do I do? I need to cut the panel at that angle, and I need to know where that is. This has to lift up. So what I now need to know is how much clearance do I actually need. I think we can take it down a little bit more. Finally. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lift it up, and I'm assuming it's going to be okay, but then I'm going to approximate where I have to cut into, but I'm going to give myself a massive margin of error. That's the top of the stairs, so I'll just cut in at the top of the stairs, and then I'll be able to slot it in, and any more stuff we need to cut off, we'll do that. Well, I'm hoping that it'll fit in a bit easier and give me an idea of where we're going. Anyway, here we go. I was being impeded by these. Oh, that's good. Oh, so that's how you do it. I want to replicate this bit of routing in this bit of wood. I'm measuring the depth with the round bit. I'm making a slide rail. And it works out relatively well. And now I'm setting the depth of the pointy bit. Both sides of the roundy channel are routed to give that similar effect. It's not a perfect outcome, but sanding it makes it blend away. I'm just removing a few burrs in the wood. Now I'm measuring it to cut to fit. And finally, I'm going to shape it, tongue and groove any bit that needs to be tongue and grooved, and make sure it all dry fits. So there's a lot of fettling going on, as you can see. Fettling, fettling. I've glued it and screwed it. It's time to assemble. Let's start at the top. No glue on the panel to allow it to expand. I learned this from the comments section. That just slots in. I need to put that in and glue it. I won't glue that. Likewise, not going to glue that. Don't need to. Do need them to slot together though. They'll be glued at the edges. Okay, I had to do a lot of fettling. So this fella goes in there. So he needs to be glued. Last bit. That's this bit I made. This bit is oversized. It'll have to be trimmed. Okay. Yes. Let's clamp this baby up. I have to flip this over and I have to strengthen it because certain areas of this will not be very strong. It's not quite square because this is hitting up against the bottom of the stairs, so I need to take a piece out. The panel, I think, is getting caught in here. I guess that probably is the reason. Ah, I know what's wrong. Do you see that? That little screw. Easily resolved. Okay. As long as I hold it, it fits perfectly. This batten fits in, but every other batten is going to be slightly different. Something seems to have gone terribly wrong. If you look at the top and now look at the bottom, you can see it's getting closer and closer, widening out. That is exactly the position it's going to be in, and it's lined up perfectly with the door. The entire shower unit is ever so slightly off. All of the shower unit lines up perfectly, but not with the door. Oh well. We'll put a piece of wood down here and cover all of that up. But in the meantime, we have this huge void. The two pipes for the shower are well clear. And what we now have to do is mount it by placing lots of blocks like that. I have marked, that's number 5, 4, 3, 2, and that little one down there. I sanded down to remove any varnish that's on it. Now I'm dyeing it with the same dark oak wood stain I used for the windowsills. Next I give it 2 coats of Danish oil and 1 coat of varnish. It will need to be sanded and varnished again once it's in place. I have this wire, and the idea being is that I'll have a little light and a switch, and you click on the switch and light, and then that light will light up the stairs. So the first thing you do, flick the switch, come in. But here's the panel, and where would you put the light? I mean, ideally in the middle, but then you cut into this. You could put it there, you cut into there, there. And I look at the panel and I think, wait a minute, there's 2 problems with this. The panel looks nice, and then the second problem is, well, what kind of light do you put here? Because it'll stick out. So as you're walking up, you're going to catch on the fitting. So I've decided that I'm just going to take this wire away, which is easy because it's just sitting there. It goes under there. You take that away as well. And we can put the wire up here. And when we do this panel, I can put a switch here and a light there, or in the roof. And also, let's say you open up the door and it's raining, and rain is landing on the light here. Rain will less likely land here, so it's probably safer, and you still have the light illuminating down. But also, I have a wider choice of lights. I could have a light with a lampshade, I could have a light, just a round light, sending light everywhere. Plus also, I don't interfere or damage the panel. Now I'm ready to mount the panel. I just need to mark the locations, because when I put the panel up, I won't be able to see where these blocks are. So I'm going to put bits of tape and take measurements so I know exactly where to screw into. 5 to 8 centimeter tolerance, 6 to 8 centimeters tolerance. We're going to put insulation in there. So the idea of the insulation is just to keep this bit insulated from perhaps a cold bathroom, but there is another reason. It's insulating the two pipes, and it also will give a nice solid feel. So if you bang on it, it'll feel solid, not hollow. Now I've got to install these plywood panels. Pretty simple, really. Oops, got a little damaged, but that's okay. It's only the first coat. The whole thing needs to be sanded anyway. There we go. There we go. Now, the panel needs to be sanded down and varnished and sanded again and varnished, and then the panel will be finished. My focus at the moment is to use up material that's otherwise taking up space on the boat. So this panel is now out of the way. The lighting is a bit strong, but the color is very rich. And unfortunately, it makes the door look very bland indeed. Undoing these brass screws will mean the panel can come off at any time to inspect pipes underneath. However, I'm using 2-inch screws, and where we have a red label, it wasn't long enough. It needs to be 2.5-inch screws, so these will have to be replaced.
Didum 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 didum. Jeez. I don't think this boat is ever going to be finished. Ah, look at that. Well, I've never seen anything so awful in all my life. Sure, he can't finish anything. You didn't have the right size screws, you big Egypt, and you didn't get it finished. Oh, yeah. What an influencer you are. Oh, like and subscribe. Influencer my arse. What a load of shite. Ah, he's just a feckin' Egypt.